Okay, hello everyone. I'm Brian, and I am here today with Titus Paar, writer and director of We Hunt Giants. And we are excited to talk about this movie, and he's going to play the trailer for you and some other clips during the interview.
Is there any dinosaurs or Jurassic Park fans out there? You will wet your pants, Horror Bus guys. Roll the trailer.
She's coming closer. Place your force in the pit. We attack.
How cool was that?
All right, well, I'm excited to see this movie. I saw the proof of concept, so I actually have seen a little bit of this movie. And Titus, I wanted to ask you, why dinosaurs? I mean, I feel like everybody loves dinosaurs. I know I do, but why dinosaurs? Why did you want to make a movie like this?
I mean, when I was a kid, my mom snuck me in to see Jurassic Park. I think I was like 7 or 8. I couldn't read or speak English, just he translated the whole film for me, but it was like, what? And the world changed, you know? And from that moment on, I was like playing with the idea and stories. What if, if a primitive man society and the dinosaurs were living at the same time? Obviously, I know that never happened, guys. I know, but it's a movie and superheroes don't exist either. So thank you for that. But yeah, that's why I wanted to do it, to see and explore what it's like if you're a primitive person that only have spears and stuff to protect you with against the fucking T-Rex, man. I mean, in Jurassic World and all that, they got machine guns and shotguns and all that. But if you just have a little spear and a little bit of hunting wits about yourself, you're in trouble, man. So that's what it's about. It's about this peaceful valley that has a very nice tribe. They have a crazy other tribe that believes, like a shaman. They worship. They believe they live on the back of a dinosaur head, and they believe everything in omens. But they sort of started existing together in peace. But when this rogue female T-Rex comes in, everything is shattered, and the shaman tribe takes the kind of nice tribe hostage because they believe they have to sacrifice their bodies to this beast. So now it's up to the village leader and his son and a rogue hunter that they bring in. The only way they can save their people is if they hunt the giant. So if you want to know sort of how it goes for them, here's a clip. So yeah, it's bloody, it's gory, and yeah, so I wanted to make it more, R-rated with sex and violence and blood. I mean, it's kind of messy when you get eaten by a T-Rex.
I wanted to ask you, when I saw some of this film, Jurassic Park immediately came to mind, and you mentioned Jurassic Park, and seeing that as a kid, I remember seeing that movie with my dad. I think I was 9 or 10 years old. But besides Jurassic Park, what were some of the other influences for this movie?
There was an anime called Rai from the 80s, which sort of had that, humans and dinosaurs living. They've done it in anime several times, like with The Good Dinosaur and all that, but they never really done it in on live action. Well, they did it like in the 40s with the very first movies. Then they got it, but then it's sort of we thought that no, that's too unimaginable. But yeah, that's what I wanted to bring into it, and bring in some of that feel when you watch Apocalypto, the Mel Gibson movie. Like when you become a part of the tribe and it's gritty, and how do they fuck, how do they party, you know, all that stuff. And then how do you survive amongst dinosaurs when you're on the bottom of the food chain?
I have to say the dinosaurs look incredible. The movie in general, from what I've seen, looks really good, but I was especially wowed by the dinosaurs. Could you talk about the effects creating the dinosaurs? Because I was blown away, and I really mean that. They look fantastic.
Thank you. And I love to take credit for it, but it's my buddy, my partner, Andreas Fikes. I mean, that guy is a master. I couldn't have made this movie without that guy. I mean, he's done some small movies before he had the luxury of working with me, like James Bond, Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, and those. He just did Mission Impossible and that dinosaur Netflix special. So I mean, he's done some small things before he got the chance to work with this guy. Obviously, I'm joking. No, he's amazing. I mean, he's working at ILM, the Jurassic Park ILM, and so he was obviously busy, and I knew him through the guy Andreas Rylander that plays Rugo, the chief's son. So they knew each other because they'd done one of his earliest work that got him into Game of Thrones and all those films. So I sort of snuck in that way, and it's like, no, man, I'm doing Ant-Man and Bond right now. I can't be doing some crazy dinosaur. But then I like talked about it, and I felt, because he's the biggest dinosaur geek, man. He's got a lovely YouTube channel when he films himself with a pet called Tucky. It's a dinosaur pet with his phone, and that looks amazing as well. So I sort of rubbed in the right way, and finally he really got excited about the project, and he agreed to do it after hours. So he worked on these huge blockbusters. Then he came home, did a few hours on mine on weekends and whatnot. So it's taken forever. It's taken a year actually to do the VFX, but everything is handmade, man. He really did it the way they did Jurassic World, and that's why it's so amazing, because he done it from the skeleton, the muscles, and up to like how the feet touches the snow, how it bumps into trees and everything. You know, I could talk about it, but you know, you remember the scene you just saw? Here's how he did it. So there you go. A master of his craft, Andreas Fikes. So I'm so lucky to work with him. I mean, I worked with some Hollywood stars and big producers and everyone, but he's my greatest achievement for sure, because he brought my vision to life in the nicest way possible.
Yeah, as I said, and from these clips, I think our audience could tell the dinosaurs look amazing. I wanted to ask you too, Titus, what else could we expect from this movie? You said it's going to be gory, it's action-packed. I think horror fans will definitely like it too as a creature feature, but what else could we expect from the movie?
I mean, if I want to do something, it has to have a little heart as well. You know, it's a family story, and this guy coming of age, because he's going to be the leader, but he's not ready. You know, and he did some bad stuff when he was a kid that maybe have led to the death of his mom. So so he has a lot of blame, and he's sort of a rebel in modern terms. That's not at all interested in being the next leader. So he has to step it up and become the man instead of the boy. So it's definitely a journey. And well, the whole thing about living with dinosaurs. I mean, how do you hunt them? How do you cook them? How do you and all of that? Can you become friends with them? Can you have a dinosaur pet? You know, all of that is what I'm looking to explore. And obviously a shitload of action, because that's what we want, like dinosaurs killing cavemen in very gruesome ways.
I wanted to ask you, tell us some cool stories about filming this and also some of the challenges that you face filming this.
Oh man, there's a reason why they don't make a lot of films in snow, because people are fucking lazy. We're not lazy. I live here out in the Swedish wilderness, by the way, over in the lake. So I mean, I'm grown up in the snow here, and if I want to go wild and party, I go to Cannes or I go to LA and hang out with Metallica and those fuckers. But you know, I'm from the wilderness, so and so are all my buddies. So we're hardcore, and some actually are Viking descendants that still lives as Vikings that we did this movie with. Farovidaf Uglas is one of the head Viking guys here. So he made from scratch all these costumes. I mean, I get so many weird phone calls from that guy that you never expect. He's like, call me, hey Titus, I got 3 dead mooses here. Can I buy them and make some cool clothes? I'm like, how much is a moose? Anyway, he's like, oh, don't worry, send me a few grand, I'll take care of it, and I'll make some kick-ass clothes. So everything's like handmade on all those furs and the shoes and everything. So I mean, they were freezing their asses off. We shot everything on location during a snowstorm. And that's not easy, man. Getting all that rig across a lake and doing all this stuff, and they were freezing, shivering, but I mean, they're so cool. And one of the other big challenge was that 2 days before we started filming, I lost my DP because he got corona.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
not the beer kind, unfortunately. So then everyone's like, oh, we gotta cancel, because I checked with all the DPs, like everyone was booked. I had one guy that I really wanted, and the previous DP, Marcus Miller, he was great. We've done Fear of the Woods and other movies together, so I was like, who can fill this guy's shoes? But ILM was the guy from ILM was booked and everything. He was flying over because he was here and he did everything. So my top guy, Anders Rugnell, is a really cool genre guy here. He was obviously booked, but I mean, I was like, come on, man, it's Jurassic World guys here we're talking about. So he's like, oh, what's the story? And I pitched him the story. I was like, oh. So yeah, I finally convinced him, and he moved some stuff around. So he came on board like the day before we started shooting, and everyone's like, oh, push it. I was like, no, how am I gonna do this? But if you quit, nothing happens. If you stick it out, good things will happen. So we stuck it out. We lost all the equipment. So I had to rent like vans on my own, like the day before. So that was a huge challenge to set up a whole team and get him ready and everything. And I mean, it was hard as it was, but introducing a new DP to the crew and everything, and get some new guys on board as well, and all that. That was a challenge. And another challenge was we couldn't even get up to the location because it was snowed. The roads were snowed in, so we were like sliding down a cliff. So we had to push the vans. So some guys had to push the van so it didn't fall off the cliff with all the gear. Luckily, I hired one of the previous World's Strongest Men. You know, the Strongman Challenge. He was the guy before the Icelandic. Can't even pronounce his name, but the guy was melon head squishing guy from Game of Thrones. Magnus Samuelsson, who you can see in The Witcher and Medieval and all those cool movies. So he was there, and luckily he does he pushes cars up stuff for amusement. So he sort of saved that truck. So I pushed it up like, I take care of this. So he did this old Conan thing up the mountain, and we were on our way. We lost a few hours, but we got there, man. We got there. Nothing's easy. then it's not fun.
No, especially not filming in snow. Let me ask you, Titus, when could everybody see this movie, especially in the US? What's the schedule for it? What's the release date? Tell us about plans for this moving forward.
Well, we're doing the festival route. We've already done a few festivals, won some great awards already. I won Best Director in Hollywood Gold, which is nice. But I'm a nice guy, so I'm gonna release this for free on YouTube on June the 27th. So then we're gonna release this short pilot of it to show you guys a little bit what's in store. So be there.
Okay, so June 27th, people could watch We Hunt Giants for free on YouTube.
Yes.
Okay, that's very nice of you to make this available to everybody.
Yeah. I mean, you can sell shorts and stuff, but you make a little money, but then you lose control of it. So I don't want to do that. I sold my previous house to make this movie, so I funded all of this myself. Everyone came in and they shipped in for free. So it's really a labor of love for everyone. So I'd rather have it spread across the planet and people can really enjoy it and get really excited about the feature that we're going to make next year.
Hey, fantastic. I did want to talk to you a little bit about your past work because I think our viewers would be interested in that. You got to work with Steven Seagal on a movie from a few years ago called The Perfect Weapon, and you've done other interviews about that film, so I don't talk too much about it, but I have to ask you, because I know people will be interested, what was it like working with Seagal? And you got to kill him, right? You got to kill him on screen. So what was it like working with him and getting to kill him on screen?
I mean, Steven was very nice, polite, and did everything I said. Not, Steven is exactly the way you think he is. And I love that. He's crazy, and he's got this crazy God complex about himself, and he's really exactly the way he's portrayed in interviews and all the videos about him on YouTube is true as well. There's so many hilarious stories. I got some crazy bar stories. Some are very R-rated that I only share if they buy me a beer. But I got to live with him in China for a week, and he was like, "Hey, Titus, come down to China. We'll talk about it. I don't know if I want to do this movie." I was like, "What do you mean? We're talking right now. I'm in Sweden." I know, fly down here. I'm doing a movie with Mike Tyson. So I had to get on a plane and then fly over to China and live with this crazy guy. And I got so many stories how, for example, we're sitting there eating in China. He's ordered like 8 entrees. And I was like, how am I going to eat this? It's really insulting if I don't finish it. Obviously, I learned later that he always does that, and he eats a little here to just toss it out because it's the production that pays for it. I noticed because he did the same on my movie. But so we're sitting there eating, and you want to reach for a napkin, but he couldn't really reach it because it was too far. A normal person gets up and grabs the napkin, but he's Steven Seagal, right? So he throws up a big knife and just stabs the napkin and starts doing that. So that's just a dinner thing. And then afterwards he brought up like a can or something and started eating. It's crunchy. I'm like, "What are you eating, Steven?" Like, "Well, it's crushed sea turtle shells. They keep my body cool." So I mean, say what you want about Steven, but it's never boring to hang out with him, for sure. Filming with him, almost impossible, man. It's in his contract that he has to have a sexy young girl holding up his lines next to the camera. Not that he reads it, but it's there. That's why he wears those yellow shades, So he talks to you, then like, well, he looks at the line. Maybe it says something about, "We got to stop the rebellion, and otherwise they will destroy this world." But he's like, I believe in the good of the universe, and the ultimate warrior is someone with passion and a nice upbringing. I was like, what am I gonna do with this? So you really have to trick him into and like rub his ego. But he only does his close-ups. Then he takes off, and you gotta get another guy with a fake beard to act opposite the other actor. So, but I tricked him into, because at the end, this is like a hangover movie that you watch when you're a little bit tipsy. It's a homage to the 80s and 90s action movies when they took everything too serious, but not at all. So it's a B movie homage, and so he's the dictator of the future. Here is like a Trump guy and a Putin, which obviously is even more hilarious now when he's like Putin's companion. But I got him at the end. I mean, it's been out for so long, so I'm not spoiling too much, but he's a clone at the end, and he's talking to himself, and I got him to kill himself as a samurai. So that was, I think that's a little piece of movie history right there. I mean, it's not a lot of the people that tricked Steven Seagal into killing himself. Even only Seagal can kill Seagal.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Somebody else I want to ask about, you've worked with Vernon Wells a few times in your short Fear of the Woods, and then the Seagal movie, right? The Perfect Weapon. And you have a friendship with him, right? Could you talk about working with him as well?
I mean, both Seagal and Vernon are like 80s action heroes. But I mean, Seagal is an asshole, but an amusing one. Vernon Wells is the complete opposite. He's so nice. He has a rude sense of humor, which I enjoy, and we're taking the piss out of each other all the time. But I mean, I saw him a month ago when I was in LA, hanging out with him and his beautiful wife Grace, and he's so hardworking, man. When we shot Fear of the Woods is it's like a Jaws, but in instead of the shark and water, there's a huge bear in the snow in Alaska in the 90s. So he was 74 when we shot that, and he did all his own stunts and stuff. So I was like, hey man, you're getting old. Are you okay to walk through this much snow and throw yourself and do all this stuff that I'm gonna do to you? He was like, yeah, I'm okay as long as I can bring my wheelchair. I was like, what do you think? I'm a fucking 80s action star. I can do anything. I do all my own stunts. And he did. I mean, I dragged him through the snow, and he's getting dragged by the bear, and he's like got free hands, and he's like, motherfucker, in the snow and everything. And everyone's like, oh, he's freezing to death. No, he's fine. And he never complains. My act, I mean, I throw another guy in the water out in the wilderness as well. So everyone that thinks acting is glamorous, they haven't been on my shoots. But finally he came to me, like showed his fingers, like they were all white. Like, Titus, just so you know, I can't really feel my fingers. I was like, can you do one more? Because we want to close up of the hands. He's like, yeah, I can do one more, but I love it to be the last. So he did one last time. Then he was like, but he's okay, man. He's the coolest. He's the best. Love to work with him again, and I recommend everyone to use him while he's still around. And he's such a fine actor that rarely gets challenged enough. So I really challenged him with my 2 movies, and got beautiful performances out of him. Even one of the scenes, he in an interview actually said it was his favorite scene he's ever done in a movie, and he's done like 200 movies. So that was very humbling, and I almost cried when I saw that interview. So love you, man. If you watch this, Vernon Wells, I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah, send it to him. That has to feel good, right, for him to say that. I have one more question for you, Titus, and then of course anything else.
Yeah, I mean, just when you grow up, you watch like Mad Max. I was a kid in Sweden, like I saw him in Mad Max with a red mohawk. I was like, that's the coolest guy. Little did I know that we're gonna be really close friends with him in the future. And having my heroes like John Carpenter, Anthony Hopkins, and Dolph Lundgren, Guy Pearce. When I'm grown now, like praising my work. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, Anthony Hopkins sent me a really nice letter when he read one of my scripts, and yeah, that's crazy, man. You can't even fathom it, really.
So you said in another interview, if there was one action star you could work with, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger. But what about one horror genre icon? If you could work with anybody still living, on any project that you wanted, who would it be? Who would you most want to work with from the horror genre?
I mean, Doug Bradley would be fun. He hasn't done anything epic in a long time. He would be great. I mean, Pinhead, that iconic voice, everything. It would be so cool to bring him into like, for example, Legend of Dark Rider, that world that I did. That's another like Game of Thrones thing I did before Game of Thrones. So yeah, he's cool. There's a lot of cool cats out there that rarely get the opportunity, and when they do, it's in shitty movies. So I wanna work with all these legends before they retire themselves or die, you know. So Arnie, Sly, those guys, obviously, and they rarely get challenged because they only seen as one thing, you know. I really enjoy Bruce Campbell as well. He's an amazing actor that, well, he's got a little renaissance in the past few years, but I think there's a lot more to his portfolio that you could play with, I think. So bring him. I want to work with all these fucking legends. I love them.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's a good list. That's a really good list. And I would love to see, those guys and women, sort of these icons that we grew up with. I would love to see them in more movies today. And I think you made a good point, right? You got to appreciate them while they're around and while they could still do films, because you don't know how long that'll be, So that's a good point that you made about that.
Yeah, I was really close to work with Max von Sydow once. I was really close to work with Peter O'Toole once. They were attached to projects, but then they passed away. So yeah, I really try to get them on board and stuff while they're still available. Malcolm McDowell as well. These guys are still around, so use them, challenge them. They want to get challenged.
All right, so We Hunt Giants, our viewers and our horrorbuzz.com readers could check it out on YouTube, June 27th. Titus, thank you so much. This was wonderful. And is there anything else that you want to add?
I'm so proud of this film and everyone on the cast, the crew. I mean, you killed yourself to make this movie with me. I'm so proud to have you as part of my warrior pack. We're gonna do this till we fucking die, and hopefully we die on set with our heads held high, doing some fucking crazy movie for your amusement. Cheers, horror bus fans. I'm Titus Paar. Go fuck yourself.